Morning all, how are you doing? Everyone all right? Testing, yeah, looks like the audio's sorted. Hey, I'll tell you what, I tried out the, I'll listen to my last live stream. I just put it on in the background when I'm doing the pots or something typically. And the reason you do that, I'm aware that sounds shockingly narcissistic, but occasionally you think, I better listen to that just to check that I didn't come across as a shrieking maniac, which I think if Jeremy Corbyn and, in fact, anyone who was on the stage at the Labour Party conference, if they had the sense to do that, maybe they wouldn't have come across as completely deranged. You know, like how a comedian stands in front of the mirror and practices his lines. You would think the Labour Party, the collection of reprobates that went in front of the camera at the Labour Party conference really should have done a bit of a dry run before they got around to it, because it was one of the worst things I've ever seen. The lunacy from some of those people staggered me. I don't know what was going on there. But yeah, I was listening to it and I was surprised. You know, I was telling you guys there was a rocket launch the other day. It was surprising how good the microphone did, how good a job it did of filtering out the rumbling. So I was impressed with that. That's just a standard Blue Yeti microphone. If anyone's interested in entering the world of podcasting, I assure you, I haven't been paid anything to say that. I was just surprised. It's only a cheap one as well. It was like $100, right? I'm not going to buy all that Gucci Shure stuff, which is quite amazing. Have you seen how expensive those Shure microphones are? The ones they use on like Lotus heaters and stuff like that. You're looking at like $500 for a shitty microphone. And minus any complaints from you lot, seems like I've done all right with $100. It did really well. I watched it back and you can't actually hear the rumbling that was extremely loud in the background. Starmer getting heckled made you giggle, Steve. Yeah, I think anybody who watched that who hasn't got the head firmly wedged up their arse found that amusing. Because I think that is probably what's the real scary... The Angry Bootneck with an S. Suave and sophisticated is not in my nature. He's got to talk with a posh accent for stars, hasn't he? Received pronunciation. If I was talking to some barmaid in America, she wouldn't even understand what I'm talking about. So it wouldn't work. And I've got male pattern baldness and a bit of a beer belly. So not going to happen. But I appreciate the sentiment. It is weird how that is what's gone wrong with politics, hasn't it? Because in the UK now, nobody's happy with where we're at. I think you can obviously say, just by looking at the way the current Conservative Party is, they're not conservative, right? So everybody who voted Conservative isn't getting Conservative. And all of the woke people who are properly woke, like half of the Labour Party, they're not getting what they want because they've got this milquetoast, Sir Keir, posh, upper crust barrister who is a career establishmentarian. He's an overbearing autocrat with a career in civil service. And I suppose my point I'm getting at is I'd like to, what would you call it? Stand in solidarity, to use their own shit terminology, and say, you know, welcome to the show, lads. Welcome to my world. Nobody's happy because the British politicians aren't serving the people anymore. It's fully gone tits up, hasn't it? The political situation in the Western world is a joke, and I think that's blatantly obvious. Like, welcome to the show, lefties. None of us are happy. And I think a point I can make with regards to that is, I've been saying that for a long time about everybody in the third world who seems to think that the answer to all their problems is not to stand and fight, so to speak, i.e., to use the World War analogy, right? Both my granddads fought in the Second World War. You know, I was born in '79, so they're about the right time. So they were young lads when the war started. Both of them did the duty, like the vast majority of British men of that era did. They didn't, as soon as Hitler started barnstorming across Europe, go, fucking hell, this might involve some work. I'm off to Canada. They didn't do it. They saw there was a problem and they said, we need to fix this issue. And what we've done in the last 20 years with this globalist shit is basically told everybody in the whole world, if you have a problem, if you're dealing with a tyrant or a murderer, a butcher, a dictator, an autocrat, if you're dealing with the worst type of leadership, what you do is you just fuck off. Do what Alan Kudry's father did. Ditch his wife, ditch his kids, half of them in the sea, right? In the sea. Weird how the kids drowned, but the father made it safely to Canada. Weird that, innit? We've incentivised people never fixing a problem. If there's a problem, just leave. If Hitler turned up in this day and age with these people, they'd just move. Let's go, fuck it. Move. Just leave a wasteland in your wake. And then leave everyone to it. And that's a terrible message to send, isn't it? We've incentivised people to just forget about the problems, don't fix them, just move. Easy. Much easier than doing any work. Fuck off. Sound. It's a nice one. But we can all do that. My forebears could have done that. But it wouldn't have fixed the problem, would it? Wouldn't have fixed the problem at all. And the world would look very, very different if our forebears had been incentivised to be weak-willed, self-serving, lazy bastards and just leave problems for everybody else to fix. So that's annoying. That's extremely irritating. But the point I was going to get at with regards to the Parliament not working for anybody, nobody's happy. They're not happy here. They're not happy in the UK. They're not happy in any of the Western world. They're not happy in France, well, although they're never happy in France. Yeah, they're never happy. That's just the French. That's generic France, never happy. But nobody's happy. The system isn't working for anyone. And this weird obsession we have with belittling people who actually live in a democratic country really does fascinate me. Because did anyone watch Tucker Carlson interviewing the Polish president? Any of you guys see that? Fascinating to listen to. And Biden, again, Joe Biden is a moron. I swear down, Joe Biden was an idiot when he was in his 40s. If you go back and look at footage of Joe Biden when he was in his 40s and his 50s, he was an ignorant fool. He wasn't a shambling, senile old fucker like he is now. He was quite quick with his words, but he was an idiot. He didn't know anything. Like so many American politicians, the Kennedys as well. Ted Kennedy's the worst, the coward of Chappaquiddick. Go and Google that piece of shit that he was, for some reason admired by American lefties. Left a young lass to drown. Just a piece of shit. But it's a strange thing that he'll turn round and call, obviously Biden, he'll turn around and call the likes of Viktor Orban or the Polish Premier a dictator, when what is clearly obvious is that they live in a more democratic country than we do. And again, I don't deal in just opinions. When I'm talking about things like this where you've got a black and white answer, I like to deal with facts. I like to deal with reality. And you can objectively prove that they live in a freer country than us. Because if you were to ask the general public via referenda in some of the big issues of the day, the things that our government do the exact opposite of would, if it was put to a referenda, the question would win by a landslide. If you were to ask the general public in the United Kingdom, shall we use 2 of our commando units, because there's 3, well, there's 4 now, but there's always 1 on spearhead. Shall we use our commando units? Shall we use the might of the Royal Navy and the Royal Air Force in the British Army, and shall we commit 100% to ensuring that no more fucking dinghies rock up on our beaches? If you were to put that in a short form question, not as long as that, I was rambling, as I am wont to do. Shall we use the military to put real effort in to stopping the dinghies turning up in the UK? Or shall we to continue to offer as many people asylum as want it, even though we know lots of them aren't asylum seekers? If you were to put that question to the British public, 75% of them would say, most definitely. Most definitely. Like I said, the Red Wall Labour, 50% of the Labour pie are socially conservative. The mum and dad, Newcastle, Sunderland, Hartlepool, Middlesbrough, they vote Labour because the mum and dad told them to. But they're socially conservative. Those people would say, we need to fix this problem. We cannot guarantee the safety of British citizenry. Women and children are at risk if we don't aggressively police our borders and vet fighting age men that come through via that medium. And if you ask the general public, shall we put real effort into making sure that this happens, it would win by a landslide. Enoch Powell, like or hate him, in his famous Rivers of Blood speech, those of you that don't know, he made an extremely controversial speech called Rivers of Blood, talking about the damage that mass migration was doing to the UK. You read about that. Douglas Murray talked about him in The Strange Death of Europe. The polls were unbelievable. If he ran for the leadership, became the head of the Tory party, and then ran for the premiership, he would have won by a colossal landslide. His words during that infamous speech had something like 80% support from the general public. So what staggers me is that, yeah, Zardoz, a typical old school Labour, and they weren't lunatics. Peter Shaw, Michael Foot and fucking Tony Benn, old school Labour, they weren't fucking communists like these woke weirdos. Do you think Tony Blair thought blokes could have a set of piss flaps? Do you think Tony Benn would say, fucking hell, everyone knows men have got a cervix? What the do you think that? Because if you think it, you're wrong. You're just wrong. 78% favourable, rotten politics. There you go. Again, I don't make shit up. I never do. I don't tell lies. I only tell you something if I know it's fucking true. Maybe I've been misled occasionally, but I don't tell you statistics. I don't pull statistics out of nowhere. There's the stat. I'm sure Mr. Rotten Politics is telling you the fucking truth. 78%. Landslide. Way more of a landslide than the Brexit vote. So it's really, really bizarre to me that we live in a country, America, like I said, Biden will sit there and call someone like Orban a dictator because he enacts a policy that 75% of his country agree with. And then Biden takes a border that's basically working as intended, with a system that's working as intended, with checks and balances, with prepared professionals, ICE and the Border Patrol, trains professionals who've been doing it for years, with a proper leadership pyramid, with the equipment they need, with a system in place. They're enforcing the law. The guy reeled all of the laws off the statute books while I was watching him on the TV. I don't remember them because I'm not a fucking immigration professional. But he's like, oh yeah, it's titled, Law 1233B and 1728-4. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that. We are enforcing the law. And seriously, I know we've had debates about the law in the past, but if you want to start turning this into Nietzschean bullshit and just go vanishing down, oh yes, but what is truth? Oh yes, but what is reality? Oh yes, but what is real? Are we real? Is thought real? Nobody gives a shit about your bollocks, wokeist, mealy-mouthed philosophy, trying to make people think the sky is green and the grass is blue. We're not going down that road. But if you want to have a country that functions as a country, you have laws. The laws are applied equally for everyone, regardless of means or appearance. And the laws are enforced properly, blindly for everyone. Those laws are in place and have been in place for decades. Biden tore them up. Obama applied the immigration laws. Obama, who everyone whinges about now and goes, ooh, lefty Obama. Obama's policies were not fucking far left. Obama deported more Mexicans than any president in history, possibly until Trump. I don't know how many Trump ended up deporting. But President Obama applied the US immigration laws equally and unequivocally. He let people in when they'd applied and were granted citizenship or green cards, and he deported them aggressively when they didn't. So Biden ripped up the legislation to make cheap political capital. It's probably illegal in itself, just tearing it all up. Fuck the rule book, because I want to make it score some cheap political points or spite people, like Peter Mandelson and Tony Blair did it out of spite. But it's just applying the law, and you're supposed to apply the law. If you were to ask just the point I've just made, there you go, Obama deported more than Trump. I'm sure he did, because he applied the law, the existing law. If you were to ask the general public, just as the point I made with working class labour in the North specifically, if you were to apply the law and then write this out as a simple question and just say to the American public, should we stop applying existing immigration laws to the United States? I think 85% of the United States population would say, yes, you silly twat. Yes. What are you even asking us for? What are you asking us such a fucking stupid question for? That's what most people would say. But the answer would be an unequivocal yes. And yet, just for those two examples, we're living in these countries where we apparently labour under the delusion that we live in a democracy. It's a democracy. Really. A representative democracy. What the fuck is representative about the shit that these people are up to now? Representative of about 6% of the country? Yeah. But that's not how it's supposed to work. It isn't the people who lost and can't win a fucking election. In the case of the UK, can't win an election for 13 years, 14 years, can't win an election, but you get to make all the rules. Does anybody think I am mischaracterising what's currently occurring in the United Kingdom? The minority who can't win a general election get to make all the rules. 75% of the country, probably higher, are like, fuck me, sort the immigration out. Fucking hell, put some border patrol in, get the Navy in the channel, fix it before a bomber or a jihadi or a mass murderer comes in and fucking starts bayoneting people in the face at the race course. And they're just not doing it. Just not doing it because Jeremy Corbyn wouldn't like it. Because far left activists wouldn't like it. Oh, look, it just told me someone subscribed. That's weird. I don't often notice that shit. Anyway, so it's lunacy, right? Doesn't make sense. It's minority rule. The 90% doesn't agree with all of these policies, and they do it anyway. And they've been doing it anyway for decades. They wouldn't have agreed with it when Tony Blair was letting 2.5 million people in the fucking 90s. But they just do it anyway. And we sit here, and this I'm bubbling, brace yourselves. No, seriously, the piss is bubbling. It's tepid at the minute, but I'm getting there. Seriously, this cannot be allowed to continue. And the thing that stuns me the most, this is the crescendo of the rant, the daily rant. Joe Biden goes on TV when people like Viktor Orban enact a law that has bipartisan, broad brush support and general popular support of about 90%, right? Encouraging them to get married and have more kids. And he does that. And Joe Biden, with the neck of 1,000 giraffes, goes on TV and goes, fucking dictator him. Fucking dictator. He's doing what the general public tell him to do. And Biden goes, fucking dictator him. Fucking dictator. Anyway, shall I just rip up all these immigration laws? Yeah, let's talk about that dictator again. Are you pulling my pissy, you senile, baldy, fucking penile wart? What? Are you? I don't know what to do, but I do not know how else to put it. He has the neck of 10,000 particularly tall giraffes. It is unfucking believable. You're doing the exact opposite of what the people in your country want you to do. And you're being smug about it. And then when a world leader does what the people that elected him told him to do, he calls them a fucking dictator. A dictator. Does he even know what a dictator? He probably doesn't. He hasn't got much of a fucking vocabulary on him, has he? Since he went senile. Probably when he was in his 50s, because he's thick as shit. But it is unbelievable. And it is unacceptable. And it is uncomfortable to watch. The lunacy of these people. At least Boris Johnson, back in the day, pointed out when the press was being shrill. Yeah. Boris Johnson made the bet, didn't he? He said, I guarantee as soon as it's feasible to roll back any overbearing legislation, the Hungarian president will do it. And he was right. Ironically, he hasn't. So again, we are the ones being failed here. Joe Biden is not. America's not a fucking democracy anymore. I mean, Britain isn't. So Sadwings or any of my American followers, don't think I'm having a pop. I'm not having a pop. I'm not saying Britain's got any room to talk. But at least Britain, not since the fall of the empire, hasn't been gobbing off about how much of a democracy it is. It isn't a fucking democracy. It's a police state. It's a police state with a law that isn't applied equally. Partisan police. A woke police commissioner. Aggressively political public figures. Police commissioners. Civil servants. Apparently independent public bodies, the BBC, Channel 4, are chaired by they're monitored by independent bodies that have got legal power to ensure they retain an ounce, a semblance. I mean, it doesn't have to be tons, there could be a little bit biased, but they're supposed to retain a semblance, a little incy-weeny bit of impartiality. And they don't even manage that. They can't even just a teeny bit impartial. Channel 4 is full-blown commie propaganda. You think the BBC's bad? Channel 4's even worse. I'll tell you how I know this. Even long before, because like you guys know, I've been politically active since I was a fucking early 20s, right? I've only ever written one letter of complaint to a media organisation. I've wrote one to a politician, which you guys saw because I shared it with you a couple of years ago. And I wrote one to Channel 4 when I was still a serving Marine. I was about 28 and I sat down and wrote a letter to Channel 4, a lengthy letter of complaint, because they had, for the alternative Queen's Speech Christmas message that they do every year, they had Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, the same guy who said Israel should be wiped off the face of the earth via a nice clean method, nuclear annihilation, right? Nice and clean, not particular. It's not lacking in downsides like nuclear fallout and babies setting on fire, but it's a neat solution. I'll give him that. The bloke said wipe Israel off the face of the earth, and then said, "Oh, there's no gays in Iran. It doesn't even happen. We're all just born with massive throbbing lob-ons and we fucking love pussy." Like, that's the mad shit Mahmoud came out with. And they put him on TV, on Channel 4, the alternative Christmas message. This is who you're dealing with. Full-blown commies, activists, propaganda, and they're apparently legally obliged to retain impartiality. Are you taking the piss? The BBC, are you taking the piss? Boris Johnson, apparently he got a mandate to deal with it, promised before the election he was going to defund the BBC. Well, they've fucked that off now, haven't they? That was one of the reasons people voted for him. So, no, we don't live in a democracy. If you're British, you don't live in a democracy. It's a fucking police state. You do as you're told, and they'll make laws to appease the 5% woke, educated academic twats from Oxford and Cambridge who run things like the Supreme Court that's nakedly partisan, or the fucking civil service, Sir Philip Rutland, nakedly fucking partisan, incompetent, get your wives killed, get your daughters blew up and stabbed in the eye in Manchester, gang rape of 500,000 girls and none of them did anything about it. And you fucking want to sit there with a straight face and say, oh, at least we still live in a democracy. Do you fuck live in a democracy? It's not a democracy. The UK is not a democracy. You don't live in a fucking democracy. And if you think you do, you've got a head full of cow shit, just like Cathy Newman and Sir Philip Fucknuts and every other dopey twat who works at any formally reputable institution in the United Kingdom. It's a fucking piss take. And sorry to say, fellow Americans, neither do we. Neither do we. I mean, a really simplistic argument, if you can ignore the last 25 minutes, is the death penalty. Whenever you read polls for the support, if you were to put that to a referenda, do you think Ian Huntley should get fucking barbecued? I mean, I'm sure they'd be able to do some sort of pain-free method. I mean, like I said, I'd do it with a hammer for free. I wouldn't even charge the taxpayers. I'd just do it last Friday of every month, rock up at the maximum security prison with a fucking lump hammer and do the taxpayers a fucking favour. The only people who wouldn't be happy would be the fuckers who provide them with, I don't know, Dairy Lee slices or whatever to feed the fuckers, because I'm sure they're at least not getting fine fare. Noodle doodles, microchips, fucking turkey twizzlers, whatever. The owners of those companies, Bernard Matthews, might be a bit depressed about it. But everybody else, if that was the question, referenda, should the angry bootneck turn up at the maximum security wing and all of the people who've killed children get killed via the medium of a lump hammer, that would fucking pass with about 80% majority, right? So why do you think you've never been asked? Because the lefty elites run the country and they don't think it'd be a good idea, so you're not allowed to even get asked the question. The French famously said it. I wish I could remember the politician who said that. It was about 10 years ago now. Can't remember who it was, but they asked a French politician, I think she was like the 2IC, and they said, like, why can't the French have a question about Frexit, French leaving the EU? And she went, yeah, because we think they'd say yes. Like, she admitted it in a moment of rare honesty. She went, oh yeah, well, the reason we won't let them have a referendum is because they'd probably vote to leave. So the elites know that we feel a certain way. The Britisher, I do like the Britisher. I watched him after Sargon recommended him. I haven't seen him for a while, though. I wonder if YouTube have fucking gimped his channel like they did with Paz and Rotten Politics. And me, obviously, but I'm not as big as them. But they know. They know we don't live in a democracy. The only people who are labouring under the delusion that we still live in a democracy are fucking lefty activists, because everything they want, they get. Right? Same over here, AOC. Everything she wants, she gets. They can't win an election. They haven't got anywhere near winning an election. But everything they want, they fucking get. So, yeah, it's a democracy if you're a fucking communist. That's it. No electric chair climate change. Couldn't we get like 50 right-wingers on exercise bikes all going at the same time and sort of generate enough, then just wire them all up to a Jenny? And surely 50, 100 blokes, we could generate enough electricity to cook him slowly, like microwaving him. So yeah, it's mad times we live in. That was a fucking 29-minute rant, that. I didn't even think about the news. I just talked shit for half an hour. But it pisses me off. Joe Biden has some fucking neck on him. Calling everybody else a fucking dictator. Calling everybody else a dictator when he does whatever he wants. And then best of all, today he's talking about, oh yeah, everyone has to pay the fair share. He's fucking 80. He's like 80. And he hasn't paid his fair share ever. So he hasn't been paying his fair share for 80 fucking years. But if you're an entrepreneur, And with hard work and sacrifice, and you live laser focused, you drink nothing but tap water and you save all your money, and all your friends are out partying and going on the piss and going to Vegas, and you're just laser focused on your business. And through hard work and determination, 10 years later, you've got a successful small business and you sell it on to a big conglomerate like one of these microbreweries, and you make fucking $50 million. And you go, yes, I've made it. And then Biden goes, motherfucker, I want half of that. You pay your fair share, you cunt. But he's a multi-millionaire with a property portfolio of about fucking 20. And every penny he's made hasn't come from private enterprise, but it's from stealing off the taxpayers. And he's got the brass neck to turn around and fucking say to you, for all your sacrifice and hard work, you pay your fair share, you cunt. Again, how is it only me getting angry about it? Fair share. Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden. Have they paid the fair share? Again, Trump dodges his taxes as well. But at least Trump inherited it off his fucking dad and made some of his own. At least when he doesn't pay his taxes, it's on private money from private enterprise. They pinch directly off you, the guys who drive taxis and clean fucking windows on apartment buildings, and dodgy Nancy Pelosi. They steal the money direct from the taxpayers, and then they don't even pay their taxes. And then they go, fair share. It's unfucking believable. Unbelievable. Who's going to vote for Gina Miller's new party? Well, I'll tell you who's going to vote Pepe Le Pew. It's going to be Gina Miller's mum, Gina Miller's fucking dad, and then, well, probably nobody else. I'm sure half of the family thinks she's a twat as well. So yeah, we're fucked. We're fucked, ladies and gents. We don't live in a democracy. Fucking get used to it. This stuff, I'll have to cover another day. I lined up a few I was going to do. I'll do what I often do and do a 30-second roundup of each, just so I can see I've got through some actionable news. I didn't just sit here and rant for half an hour. Because I'm sure some people do actually want to read the fucking news. This one. Why has Australia switched tack on COVID-0? Because it's fucking impossible and it doesn't work. And the only people who think you could do that have got the head in the fucking clouds, the stupid, thick, dozy, daft twats. How do they ever get in charge of running a country? There you go. That's why they've switched tack, because it doesn't fucking work. And anyone who isn't a maniac could have seen that the first fucking day. Right? So done. Don't have to spend any more time on that. US declares 23 bird, fish and other species extinct. Well, the first thing is, I knew I was going to know the answer to this. It's predominantly birds. Go down a bit, blah, 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 because I'm into birds. I'm British. We like birds. Fucking lovely, majestic ivory-billed woodpecker there. 11 birds, 1 bat, 2 fish, plant and 8 types of mussel. So the burden is mainly on the birds. Do you know why that is? Because of lefty activists once more. Yes, you guessed it. Purple-haired, crazy cat ladies. Cats are responsible for hundreds of extinctions all around the world every year. The domestic house cat. It's a fucking killer. It's a scourge. The fucking thing should be banned, right? You should have to earn the right to own a cat, and you shouldn't be allowed more than one. So, purple-haired, crazy cat ladies with no fucking children, you're fucking up the planet yet again. And as usual, me, don't have any cats, not responsible for making anything extinct. Walk everywhere, don't overeat, don't fucking travel too often, me, I've got it, you, Matty, you've made the birds extinct, you cunt. Fuck off. Fuck off, lefty arsehole, sort your own shit out. That's why birds are going extinct. Fucking cats, Google it. Alright? What else? Sarah Everard, Wayne Couzens falsely arrested and handcuffed her. Fucking shocking. Absolutely shocking. But just remember, it was one Ben Copper. It wasn't all men. And most murder victims are male. So stop making it about identity politics. Stop making it about gender. Police the streets aggressively. Enforce the law equally. And put these motherfuckers behind bars for at least 30 years. No more Anis Zalkan murders his wife, puts a fucking head in his freezer, and then gets out of jail in 12. 12 years, life is cheap. Pork it up your fucking dirt box. 30 years or death for the most villainous, verminous creatures on earth. Thank you very much. That will put a lot of people's mind at ease. And finally, German coalition talks where the Brits see crisis, the Germans find unity. Of course they do. And the last time the Germans started talking about unity, 6 million Jews ended up in the fucking oven. So the BBC can do their same old irrational, self-loathing, anti-British, pro-European fucking horse shit till the cows come home. But the last time the Germans started talking about unity, a load of fucking babies got gassed. And guess who had to fix it? Oh yeah, fucking Matty again. My grandparents, both of them, went over there, showed Jerry what's fucking what, and we fixed the problem. It wasn't the European Union. It wasn't the fucking Germans. They caused the problem. As usual, it was us. It wasn't them. So BBC, poke it up your well-fucked dirt box. That, ladies and gentlemen, I think will do us for another day. Another glorious success. All right, as usual, thank you very much to everyone who shared it and liked it. Rotten Politics, Paz, and anybody else tunes in who's got a channel of their own. I do appreciate it. If it was down to Susan, I would have gone extinct like all those poor birds. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys at 11 o'clock tomorrow. I will not forget. All right, cheers. Good evening. Have a good night. Sleep well. See you tomorrow.